I mean, but the thing is when it could be for good or bad, and in society there's parents and grandparents who've been traumatized, and there's generational trauma, and if you don't find a way to stop that or change it, it'll just continue on. That's my that's my whole goal in life. So whenever I'm breathing, I try to breathe in love, all the love in the world, because it's all vibrations. There's lots of love out there. I try to breathe in love, and then I breathe out gratitude and kindness to that part of your body, saying there's pain there, and the reason there's pain there is to protect yourself from hurting yourself really badly. But what happens is once that heals, your mind is still saying, hey, we want to protect that part of the body. Like I'm an expert or anything.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you're not an energy expert. Yeah, so my name is Enoch Abear.
Enoch?
Yes, sir, Enoch. It's a biblical name, Enoch.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm from Lake Charles, about 3 hours from here. Lake Charles, Louisiana. It's the first, so it's like the first town that has a casino outside of Texas.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I don't think casinos are allowed in Texas.
I lived in Dallas for a bit, and I'm familiar with that town. So.
Cool. Yeah, so I sell knives. So you work for Cutco, or are you just here for your son?
I'm here for my son. I'm in high-tech sales.
High-tech
So I've
sales.
been a sales executive selling hardware, software services the past 30 years.
Okay. So has that influenced like that your son works for Cutco?
I think indirectly. I mean, I think that kids, they see their parents and what their parents do, and they're not gonna like listen to their parents directly, like their parents tell them to do something. I think the best parenting is when parents lead by example. You're good people, you work hard, you treat people with respect, and ultimately you could tell your kids to go to school, to work hard, to be a good person, you know, to do whatever it is you want to do. But if you're not doing that, then they're gonna probably not follow that path. So my son, and he's never really like listened to me overtly, like if I tell him to do something, but I think he watches. Kids watch. So so I've been doing this my career, and my wife is a realtor.
Okay.
And so I think he's once he started to learn more about Cutco, I think he saw that there's some good opportunities here. So it probably wasn't me saying do this. I think it was more him probably watching what we do, and then learning on his own.
Learning it on his own. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, leading by example. It's a huge one because my dad he'll tell me things, but at first I don't want to listen. I want to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then whatever he does, I notice I do it without even really thinking about it.
Right.
I just picked it up when I was a kid. Even the way he talks, I'll talk the same way, and I'll pick up on it later, and I'm like,
And it could be a good thing or a bad thing.
yeah, it could go either way. Like sometimes I might get a little too preachy. Like my dad gets kind of preachy sometimes, so it's like I gotta watch out for those things, and then consciously switch them up.
I mean, but the thing is when it could be for good or bad, and in society there's parents and grandparents who've been traumatized, and there's generational trauma, and if you don't find a way to stop that or change it, it'll just continue on. So there's good habits you could pick up from your parents, but there's a lot of not so good things as well, and that's our society needs a lot of work with that, I feel.
That's really powerful. Yeah, I've seen that carry down from generation to generation. So yeah, I've been working for Cutco for 6 months.
Oh,
About
wow.
6 months. Yeah.
About similar to my son.
Yeah. When did he start?
Started in June.
In June. Yeah. Same as me. Same as me. Yeah.
Yeah, so start with the summer program.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Nice.
I was in a branch office. So like branch is like 4 months. An office opens up, hire people, and then they go back to whatever else they're doing before that.
Yeah, that's how my son started.
Yeah, he got hired in a branch. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, so we started talking about frequencies, and I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe that Jesus
do I.
created the world by speaking it into existence. And Speaking is a form of vibration. And so I felt like even from the beginning, it all started with energy and vibration. So what do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I think about it all the time. I mean, I'll let you like read. This is that's my purpose right there.
Purpose is
You can read it out loud.
okay. My purpose is to raise my level of consciousness through awareness with the intention of serving humanity and making the world a more loving place.
So basically, what you said, that's my whole goal in life. So whenever I'm breathing, I try to breathe in love, all the love in the world, because it's all vibrations. There's lots of love out there. I try to breathe in love, and then I breathe out gratitude and kindness. So whenever I meet somebody, I'm breathing in love and I breathe out kindness and gratitude, and that's like my daily thing. So actually, I have a thing here, basically. In here, it's called Streak Program, but it basically reminds me, whenever I pick up my phone, I breathe in love, I breathe out loveness and kindness, or kindness and gratitude. But it's all goes back to, hey, good to meet you too.
Have a safe trip home.
All right, take care. So no, I absolutely believe in it, and even, I mean, have you read the book about water and pictures? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. What's
So
the?
she should. So you could probably like Google it right now. But there's a Japanese photographer, and what he would do is he would take pictures of water, and like, let's say you say love, and take a picture of the water right after it. You could look it up on your laptop right now.
Oh, so like the molecules would, or
The molecules would turn into beautiful crystals. But if you actually said, you probably heard of this, but if you said like hatred, there would be an ugly blob. So, I mean, so when you're talking earlier about words and vibrations, words and what you say and what you think, it's so important. It all starts with yourself. So when you say negative things to yourself or to your loved ones, I mean, those are negative vibrations. And you figure that people are 80% water, and with these pictures, you could see what happens to the water. But then also, we're all vibrating, we're all energy. So it all comes down to frequencies and energy and what you think and what you say. And so I believe it's very important as far as like words and vibration and energy. So
yeah. So I've heard of like the breathing where you breathe in gratitude, and then I've heard a different variation where instead of breathing it out,
yeah,
breathing out something good, you breathe out something bad to get it out of your body.
yeah.
So what's the?
Well, the thing, what I'm trying to do is breathe in all the love, because there's so much love and goodness in the world. And this is something I just made up. So it's not like I read. So I started this like this exercise in actually in 2013. I was doing a 10-mile race in Central Park. Actually, it was January 2013, and during the race, I'm racing, and I was basically thinking love and breathing out gratitude throughout the whole entire race, just as a way just to give back to the world. And the idea is like there's a lot of love out there, and you just want to give gratitude for all the love that's out there. And then I just decided to add in kindness as well. So
I like that. I like that. I like you're kind of like being a magnifying glass.
yeah,
You're taking in a little bit and you're breathing out more.
yeah,
Being like a vessel. Because I've heard of the variation where if you're feeling stressful, you breathe in the opposite of stress and you breathe out the stress.
yeah. I'm sure there's like lots of different meditation exercises that are out there.
So what's the I guess break down the frequencies in a way, like if I'd never heard about them. Like if you were telling your son about it for the first time, how would you break it down? Where would you start?
And so I've read some books about this. I should.
Yeah, what are some of the books?
There's one book in particular. Actually, I know that the book, it's called. It just came to me right now. It's called An Infinite Mind, and I would highly recommend reading it. Actually, I gave it to somebody last year, but I heard about this book. It was interesting. I got into this path like years ago, listening to Audible books. But there's this guy named Wayne Dyer, who's like one of the you know, you know, first people to really get into this type of um, study and people. And anyway, he mentioned the infinite mind, and is a it was a tenured UCLA professor in science, and then since she was tenured, she could basically study whatever she wanted. So what she started to do is she started to do all of these scientific studies on energy and like Reiki masters and things like that um, to see what happened. So she had this high tech, and this is back in the 70s.
Oh wow.
This is like 70s. So this is going back like 50 years. She did these scientific studies where they had like energy healers. And there's people who have, I just want to say, they just have powers to sense energy and healing. And these are like the Reiki master type folks. And I am no expert on this at all. I just read those books.
Okay.
I'm just kind of repeating to you like what I read like a year and a half ago in this book. So I'm probably gonna get some of it wrong. But what she did is she basically had these energy like masters kind of like look look on a body and say where there was the energy was off or where it needed some work, and then they took a picture that like kind of measured energy waves, and somehow it was the exact same, or they had the energy person like work on a certain area, and then they would take a picture like with a special camera that would measure energy, and it would actually, and then they did all these variations of studies. They're like too many to even like talk about. And she traveled around the world, and she just like made this like her life mission to do all. And I just like I read this, and it was all like science based stuff. But you could go to any town and there's energy healers. There's people that do it. My knee was hurting me last year, and I had a traumatic brain injury a year and a half ago, and I was having some problems, and I was seeing a trauma therapist, and she said, "Hey, I recommend you do this." And somehow the pain from the trauma, I was getting PTSD, and somehow my knee was hurting so bad, and I'm a runner and I couldn't run. So I went to this energy healer, and like within like a day, the pain just went away completely. And she didn't even touch me. She was just doing, so I've seen it work firsthand, and I've read the book. I like to learn more about it, but I've personally experienced it. So
Have you heard of what the chi that like
Yeah.
the Buddhists
Yeah.
do? Yeah. Do you feel like that's a form of energy too?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I tried one of the things that like they were showing, and I was like, it was weird because I could feel it.
Oh, you
Like,
can feel it.
At first, I was like, oh, this is like voodoo. This is
Oh yeah.
some weird witchcraft.
It seems like it. Actually, it's like just like it's gonna take me way back. But I remember I went to a Catholic school. I went to Catholic school for 12 years, and I'll never forget my freshman year, like in high school. This is like the 80s. There's these two girls that were like Satanist girls, like in my school, and I've always been interested in spirituality and all these different things, and so they gave me one of their books, but it was talking about energy, and I'll never forget that. Anyway, so the book told me to do this, like if you get your hand and just go like this, and I remember this from high school. I haven't done it in a while, but if you go like this, you can actually feel the energy like go from one hand to the other. I mean, we're all energy. And then you throw in there 80% of us is water, and we're all molecules. I mean, so negative energy, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So,
I felt it. Like, I went into the mall one day and I walked into like a skater store. you know how the skater stores can be, like some demonic stuff in there.
Yeah,
And as soon as I walked in there, I felt something,
yeah,
and it just made me really uncomfortable. And it wasn't like anything I saw. I just walked in
yeah.
there, and I was,
Negative energy. Well, you could feel it. I mean, like sometimes people are in dangerous situations and they just get a certain intuition. I mean, it's, you could feel like negative energy when something bad is going to happen. So,
okay. So, do you see, like, I guess all the stuff that they're discovering with energy, do you see that as the link between the scientific link between the physical realm and the spiritual realm?
um,
Because since now they've always been pretty separate. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's in independent of your faith and what you believe in. I mean, spirituality takes different forms. So there's some people that are probably agnostic or atheists that are very spiritual, and they probably meditate. They probably are very caring people. They're very loving people. They have a spirituality practice, but they may not believe in traditional type of religion. Um, so I definitely think there's a crossover as far as some of these things and spirituality.
so you're saying that like the person was like healing your knee earlier?
Yeah, that it was. This is I just I don't understand. I don't understand this, but I guess the energy wasn't flowing through my body correctly, and somehow she opened it up and she focused on a certain area, and it made a difference.
Huh.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I mean, it was just, I should probably go back for other pains and things I have. And it's like, even though like intellectually I know this stuff works and I read about it, and I haven't even gotten to the um, mind body healing. There's an app called Curable, but it's basically people who have trauma or have stress or negativity, it manifests in pain in their body. And people intellectually know this, but they really don't believe it. So let's say someone's under a lot of stress, like their back will start to hurt. But how many people like quit their job because their back is hurting and they're like can't even do anything?
A lot of
But
people.
there's a direct correlation between the two. But there's ways to heal yourself from that if you understand the mind body connection. Um, so I've listened to probably 100 podcasts on the mind body connection, and I've also read like many books on it, and I've used it myself. But even like knowing about this, like sometimes I don't believe it works, or I forget that it works, and I'll be really stressed over something, and I'll have a knee pain or upper hamstring pain or something, and then maybe it might take me like 6 months to realize the connection, but there is a connection between stress, trauma, negative things, and pain in the body too. The mind is very powerful.
Yeah, and that's what you see with what's that effect called where the doctor gives them a fake pill.
Oh yeah, oh that's a perfect example. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of that, but so I'll give you two study. You could look this stuff up. So University of Colorado Boulder, they actually did a study on back pain, and they did this. It's called pain reprocessing. I forget the name of it, but basically you can look it up. University of Colorado, mind body back pain. They took 100 people, and these are people that were going to have to get operated on, or they've had chronic back pain, and they took them through this mind body exercise, and basically their pain in their back went away. There's another doctor, another study where they actually did the placebo effect. They got like, I don't know how many patients. I'm not going to say because I'll probably get it wrong, but they got many patients, and these people had really bad knees. The knees are going to have to get operated on, and they said, hey, we're going to do this, study we'll pay for your knee operation, but you have to just go through this the study with us. And they said, okay. So they didn't operate on any of these people. All they did is scope them. They just stuck the scope in there and just looked around and didn't do anything at all. I think 80% of the people, their knee healed completely. These are people who had chronic knee pain, but they thought they were operated on. But then even after they were told, hey, that was a year later, they're like, hey, we didn't do anything to your knee. Their knees still were fine because somehow the body had taken away the pain. But it does come back to the phantom pain we you're talking about, because what happens is when you have chronic pain in your knee, your back, your arm, whatever it is, what the brain does is sends signals to that part of your body saying there's pain there. And the reason there's pain there is to protect yourself from hurting yourself really badly. But what happens is once that heals, your mind is still saying, hey, we want to protect that part of the body. And what happens is whenever there's stress or trauma or something going on, that's when these pains trigger.
Okay. So you said earlier phantom pain. What is that?
A phantom pain is when a person gets their arm cut off, so there's no arm, but then they still have pain there. So that's like the mind-body connection I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah.
So there's people who are amputees, and they'll for some reason they have to get their leg amputated, and then they'll feel a pain in their right toe, but it's impossible because there's no toe there.
Oh.
So that's called phantom pain.
Phantom pain. Where'd you learn about that?
It's just a thing that's been around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I originally heard about phantom pain.
Yeah.
From Mosaic. I don't know if you heard of him. He's kind of mixed into self-help frequencies with the Bible and Christianity.
No, phantom pain. It's a medical terminology that's been around for decades. So
okay,
it's independent of Mosaic.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but the first time I heard him say it, I was like, okay, what in the world is that?
Yeah,
that's a new thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I was curious. How you'd heard about
it. But that just it goes to show that you could feel pain when there's nothing there. But what happens is, an example would be if you break your leg. Let's say your leg is broken right here. It takes about 6 weeks for a bone to heal. So your bone heals 6 weeks from now, but you're still feeling pain in your leg. That pain, you could take an X-ray, MRI. Your bone's completely healed. There's no physical reason for you to feel that pain. But what's happened is your leg has been hurting for 6 weeks. So your mind is still sending pain signals down there, telling you that, hey, don't step on your leg. It's broken, it's hurting. So then you have pain in your leg. So.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So that's the mind-body connection.
Yeah.
But so how do you change that? The way you change that is the mind. The nice thing about the mind is it's neuroplastic, meaning it can change. So, and that's the nice thing about life is it doesn't make a difference whether you're 5 years old or you're 10 or you're 50. You could change your behavior, the way you think. It just takes a lot of work. So, but the same thing goes with these pain, is there's certain neural pathways that have been connected for pain. And it doesn't even have to be physical pain. It could be mental pain. It could be you're used, whenever someone, maybe you're in an abusive relationship and you're abused as a child, and whenever someone says your name a certain way, you're going to feel emotional pain. So then let's say you're not at home anymore and someone says your name that way, it's going to trigger that. So that neural pathway has already been trained to protect yourself because that's what you've been conditioned to do. But the nice thing about the human mind is we can be rewired, and that's the beauty of it. And there's a lot of people that are working on this right now. So.
Okay. Yeah. So that's crazy because, like you're saying, with the broken leg, you still feel the pain even though it's not there. What about the people who the doctor tells them they have cancer and they don't really have cancer? Or what about the people who have cancer and the doctor tells them they're healed and they're not really healed?
Yeah. I don't know. That's I've heard some interesting stories about that, and I don't know about that, but it could. I mean, I've heard some pretty crazy stories about people getting diagnosed for something that they don't have, but then they start to actually believe it, and it happens. So, but I'm not too much of an expert on it. I might have read some anecdotal stories, but
Yeah.
not so much. So
I listened to a book that Joe Dispenza wrote. Are you familiar with Joe Dispenza?
I've took the course and I read about three or four of the books. So I probably which book was it?
It was one about the placebo
Yeah, the
effect.
placebo effect.
Yeah, I didn't read the book. I have this app. It has like
Yeah,
15-minute summaries in it.
I read the book.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
saw the movie, What the Blink Do You Know? It's a movie that Joe Dispenza made probably about 20 years ago. So I think I've read like two or three of his books. So
Okay.
I have them all on my Audible right here. So
Really?
I have probably over 200 books on these topics on
He
my
has some
Audible.
good stuff on meditation.
No, he does. I have his meditations. And
Yeah. You have like the app that he has or the website?
um, I just have like some of the it's not I don't have an app. I have some meditations that I just found online and stuff that I've used a lot. I had an accident about a year and a half ago, and I really went deep on all of this stuff. That's when I read a lot of these books, and I was meditating extra long, and listening to the Joe Dispenza meditations and the vibrations. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you find these people and you learn these things? Do you have social media that gives you these feeds?
Um,
Do people recommend them?
I mean, I I've been there's books. I mean, I could go through the books. I mean, I I have in here in my Audible. There's like so many of them, but I just been studying. I mean, this stuff is like, I would say it's I believe in it. So yeah, to answer your question, I listen to podcasts, I research online. I've listened or read probably 300 to 400 books on this topic. I talk to people, like that's why I'm talking to you right now. It seems like you have an interest in this. Um, I started a company, virtual reality mental health company, Horizon Mind. Um, I care about this. It's important. There's a lot of pain and suffering in the world, and like I said earlier, I'm trying to spread love and kindness, and that's why I feel I was here. That's why I was put on this earth, is to help humanity. And so I coach at a local community college. I volunteer. I'm a certified executive coach, so I coach people at work. Anyone who asks for help, I pretty much help anyone else. I don't charge for my coaching. I probably could, but I just like helping people. So when you ask like how do I know about this stuff, this is what I do. Like when I'm not working,
Yeah.
I basically am doing this.
And it seems like you've been able to take this and turn it into work in a sense
Not really.
with your
Not
company.
no, because I work for a high tech company.
Okay.
So I do the same thing that Cutco is doing
In
for
what
my job.
ways?
What?
In what ways?
Well, I'm a sales executive,
Okay.
so for a Fortune 500 company. So that's what my day job is, and I've been working for Fortune 500 high tech companies the past 30 years. So I do all this stuff just because I care about it.
Yeah. When I read your thing, you keep saying you're on earth to spread love. I just think about the Bible verse that says that God put us on earth, like the two greatest commandments, like love God and love people. Which I was just talking to my manager earlier, and he said almost the exact same thing as you. He said he felt like he was put on earth to spread love, to love people, and to
Yeah.
love God.
And what's interesting is we're talking about parental influence. My father is a deacon in the Catholic Church, and my mom's amazing. Mom, she's like a saint, and I probably learned from them this as well. So,
Yeah,
but just try to do the best I can each day.
that's good. Yeah. Well, awesome. I enjoyed it, dude. I got some good stuff. It's a good
Hopefully,
talk.
hopefully you got what you're thinking of. I don't know what you're thinking when you're going to talk to me, but
Yeah. No, I just wanted to have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
I talk to so few people about this because
yeah,
it's I really have put it away in my mind until for some reason it popped back up when I was talking to your son. I've like put it away because I've tried to bring it up with people in the past and never.
So what did my son say? That
The Parkinson's law,
what did he say?
about like so if whatever however
Oh,
long
yeah.
you're
Oh yeah,
given
yeah,
to,
yeah.
to
I
do
heard
your
so,
work. Yeah. I heard him say that earlier, and then I was like, yeah, you're right about that. Like it is Parkinson's law.
yeah.
And something he said triggered the thought of the frequencies and the vibrations.
Well, do you know what this is called? There's a word for it. It's called synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
The reason you and I are talking right now, it's like there's no mistake that you and I are talking right now. That you heard my son say that, and I happen to be standing here.
And I could tell you were like interested in what I was saying.
I caught on the frequency, and I was like, oh, this guy's talking my language. Because not a lot of people, it's starting to get more common than what it was like 10, 20 years ago. But, and there's still, like, I am a total novice. If anyone watches this, I don't know who's going to watch this, but I am a total novice.
I'll get like 2 viewers on average.
I've been like meditating and journaling and doing all this stuff. I mean, one of the best books that actually got me on this track was this book by Anthony DeMello. He wrote this book called Awareness, and I've bought and given away like probably like so many copies of this. Like I always order this book from Amazon. My wife's like, "Why do you keep on ordering this book and just give it away to people?" Because I believe that you really need to be aware. So I've been on this path for a long, long time. But at the same time, I feel that I don't know anything at all. The more I learn, like I read some of these books and some of the things these people are doing, and I'm just like, wow, it's like there's so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more to it. When I was
Yeah.
talking to your son, I was like thinking, I'm like, I'm breaking this down for you, but like I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
I just watched it. I watched Tony Robbins, and he had an episode with a guy named. Let me pull it up real quick because, like, I've listened to this episode probably 20, 30 times because I wanted to have such a good grasp of the knowledge. Bruce Lipton is his name. Have you heard of him?
Sounds familiar. I'm not too familiar with his work. But.
So he's popular for his work on epigenetics, which is that.
Oh yeah, actually, I think I might have read one of his books.
The honeymoon stage.
No, it's was it on brain work or something.
Brain work might have been.
You say Lipton?
Yes, sir. Bruce Lipton.
Let me see. I'm on my library right now, so I could tell you. Lipton. I see. No, Biology of Belief. No, I have not. I don't have any of his books, but I can see his book here. Seems like an interesting book, The Biology of Belief.
Yeah, so he's famous for epigenetics.
Yeah, that's funny. Like you could like even see like the book that I'm listening to right now.
Yeah. Discovery of the Presence of God.
This guy right here is.
David Hawkins.
Yeah, you want to get in some real deep stuff. Power versus Force by David Hawkins. Actually, I saw him speak in person in Sedona like years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's a whole. I could take another 3 hours to talk about him and his work.
Power versus Force. Could you sum it up in like 5
Yeah,
minutes?
I could sum it up. Yeah, I could sum it up. Basically, what he's done is he's attached a frequency to from like love to shame to anger. He's attached frequencies like 100, 200, all the way up to 1,000, and like Jesus, Buddha, they're like at 1,000, like the true avatar, like guru people of this world. But then like certain countries that are just like suffering and they're not doing well, they may be like 200. And so depending on where you are in life, but most of the world is probably like, I think he actually has a number for the world. It's like maybe like 300 or 200 to 300 or something like that. But there's different frequencies where people operate, and the highest ones are obviously like love is like the highest.
Love.
So, but he like actually found a way to
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 measure
rank it
them?
all, to measure them all. He
Wow.
measured them all. And then the book talks about it, and then like basically what you need to be at that frequency. So when I read this book, like it's probably like almost 20 years ago,
Okay.
and I was just like, I want to raise my level of consciousness. And the whole idea of raising my level of consciousness, like I said, is so I could help people, because the idea is like, if you raise your level of consciousness through love, gratitude and kindness. I mean, the idea, the concept is this, is that one person who has a higher level of consciousness will raise the consciousness of everyone around them. So there's this story that I can't remember where I read this story, but it's not mine. But it's like there's this old man on his deathbed, and he's like in his 90s, and he's like, when I was in my 20s, I wanted to change the world. I wanted to make the world a better place. And he's like, then I got into my 30s, and I was like, oh, I just want to make my country better. I want to make a big impact on my country. And then when he was in his 40s, he's like, well, I just want to make my city better. I just want to help, my city be better. Then when he was in his 50s, he's like, well, I just want to, help, people at work to be better. And then he's like, in his 70s, he's like, I just want my family to be better. And then when he was like on his deathbed, he just realized that he should just focus on himself and start with himself. And so that's the first thing. But if you really make, strides with yourself and making yourself better, then in raising your level of consciousness, you're going to elevate the consciousness with everyone around you as well. So that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is just try to make myself better and focus on myself. Then hopefully maybe my kids might benefit from it, or maybe I might run across someone like yourself or whomever. But it's like, that's kind of like what I'm trying to focus on right now, is every day just focus on myself. And if I could help anyone else out, that's good.
Have you noticed it with other people yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have. I mean, I've touched a lot of people. I'm coaching right now at a community college cross country track, and I help people when I can. And but I try to be better myself though. So
Yeah. That's good. Man, yeah, that's some really good stuff.
yeah,
I got a lot of good stuff from that.
cool.
I got some cool books and takeaways.
Yeah,
How do you spell your name?
Joe
Joe, J-O-E?
Delgado, Delgado.
Delgado. All right. Yeah, so you mind if I use it for the video? Everything?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Awesome.
I don't think I said anything incriminating or nothing I don't believe in.